Well, welcome back, friends, to the Polish Podcast. We hope you're enjoying this conversation that we're having with today's guest, Pastor Steph. Now, it's time to add a dash of spontaneity and a sprinkle of fun to the show. It's time for Ask Me Anything. So, Pastor Steph, this is how Ask Me Anything works. This is a chance for us to kind of peel back the layers, get to know the woman behind the work and the quirks behind your expertise. And we have a couple questions here that we've curated for you, and we're just going to follow our curiosity to know more about you. So, are you ready? Are you game?
I'm ready.
All right. First and foremost, March is Women's History Month, and I want to know, if you could have a conversation with any influential woman from history, who would it be, and what question would you ask her?
Oh, man. There's so many, but I'm honestly, I'm going to give the answer that I bet a lot of people would, is probably Michelle Obama. Because I read her books, and I just felt like we're friends now. So I can think of women in history that go way back, but I just want to ask her more questions based on what I heard about her story. So it would probably be questions that sounded like, tell me more about what this was like,
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like she was, and you can listen to her read her book. And so it feels, so regardless of her family's politics, that wasn't really the topic. It was her life and how she was an overcomer. And I don't know, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. I'm going to have to check those out. I love a good memoir. So I'm going to be adding, you're making my list longer for all my to be read. All right. Question 2. What advice do you have for young women who are aspiring to become pastors or leaders in their communities?
Well, obviously I have a lot of advice for them, but
yes,
for this segment, I would say, get as many experiences as you can watching other leaders, and don't assume that you can learn only or even more from watching other women, but make sure some of those are women. But pay attention.
Yes, for sure.
Sometimes you're not just looking for somebody who represents your gender or even your ethnic background, but sometimes your personality type. One of the leaders that really helped me see what kind of pastor I could be was a Black guy who's older than me, who has a more apostolic personality. And I mean, we are completely different. Nobody would say that him and I are similar, but there was something that was unlocked by getting a chance to be led by him. And so knowing that you can have parts of who you are called to be in ministry unlocked by being around leaders that are different than you and similar to you. And so I would call that the idea of it's hard to be what you can't see, but
sure,
it's not just seeing with your eyes. It's also the personality of the leaders and how they lead. Maybe you're more soft-spoken, so it's helpful to be around a leader who's more soft-spoken, but that might be an 80-year-old guy, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, I think that's really good advice. I've never thought of it that way, looking for the personality type that you resonate with too. That would be really good for us to take to heart for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then my last question, since 2020, technology within the church has become a big thing. And I'm always curious, how do you incorporate technology and digital platforms in your ministry to connect with your congregation, especially in this world where it's increasingly reliant on virtual communication?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is going to be an ongoing conversation intentionally. So the first thing I would say is I think we're constantly evaluating that, because this world is moving quickly with technology and with how people connect and how people communicate. And so instead of saying, here's our perfect plan for this, it's we're always evaluating it. The guys on my lead team yesterday were just talking about this, but we've decided we're going to keep valuing a really well done online live service, because we know there's people in our community who can't physically make it. And there's people who, when they are sick or when a kid's sick, that ends up knocking out weeks sometimes of a year. And then there's the actual conflicts they had, like traveling to see family. So it's amazing how connected people still feel when they're joining. And we've decided to do it live still. So they literally know that this is happening right now. And they feel like they're a part of it, and they keep the rhythm in their life. So it's okay, I would be here at 10 o'clock. I would be here at 9, 10:45, whatever. But right now I'm here at this time. So I feel like that's part of it. And with social media, our church has social media accounts, and we use those A little bit similar to the website where people can get information because, millennials and younger typically go to Instagram for information, not to websites. But we also put a little bit of our personalities up there. But I've definitely taken to my own personal social media, and one of my associate pastors who preaches the most, he does too. And so a lot of people from our church will follow us there and interact with us. And I even think like I post on other people. When I see people from church posting things about their kids and stuff, I'm always commenting and always liking it.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, because I do. It's genuine, but it's also like, that is a connection. And so
yes,
I'm not just waiting for them to respond to me. That's what an influencer would do, right? Like I want people to comment on my stuff. I see it as a two-way experience with my congregation as much as possible. And that there's a couple places online that we've been able to use the media to be able to connect. So, there's a closed Facebook group that you have to say you're a part of our church. So there's still 500 people in there, but they connect, and that gives them freedom to connect with each other. And then we use WhatsApp a lot for our church. So,
interesting.
All the groups, if they ask, we give people, empower them to communicate the thing that works best, but we encourage groups to choose WhatsApp because it works across all types of phones, and you can create a group easily and add and take people off. And so we've got groups of people. There's 80 people in like a pickleball group. I don't know. And they'll be like, we're going to play pickleball at this time. And 80 people, that's the way they can get a spontaneous group of 4 really quick when they find an open court. I'm not in the group. I just hear about it. So we kind of empower people to use those types of platforms as much as possible. But we also have some people we call them the paper people, especially from the adopted church. And so we've got a list of people who get a paper copy of most things still. So, and then when we do print something like a fall guide, people are like, ooh, a printed out thing.
It's like a novel thing. Yeah.
Paper printed things are novel. And I like to keep it that way.
No, but thanks, Pastor Steph, for sharing with us a little bit more about you. And here's the thing, friends, we want you to be a part of the conversation. We want your burning questions, your curious musings, your wild wonderings about our guests. So if there's something you've always wanted to ask, now's your chance. Go to our website, polishnetwork.org, and submit your questions there. Be a podcast MVP and send in your questions today.